Koso Bandi, the enforcer's journey, from village warrior to international prop. In the unforgiving world of rugby league, where giants collide and legends are forged in the fires of competition, one name strikes fear into the hearts of opposing forward packs across Queensland and the Pacific: Koso Bandi. At 27 years old, standing 182 centimeters tall and weighing a crushing 105 kilograms, this Papua New Guinean powerhouse has carved out a reputation as one of the most intimidating props in the game. But behind the fierce exterior and bone-jarring tackles lies a story of perseverance, national pride, and the relentless pursuit of excellence that defines the very best of PNG Rugby League. Koso Bandi's journey to professional rugby league stardom began in the heart of Papua New Guinea, where rugby league isn't just a sport, it's a way of life, a source of national identity, and for many young men, the only pathway to a better future. Growing up in a country where the game runs through the veins of every child, Bandi learned early that success would require more than just raw talent. It would demand sacrifice, dedication, and an unwavering commitment to representing his people with honor and pride on the biggest stages the sport had to offer. The path to professional rugby league in Papua New Guinea is never easy, and Bandi's journey was no exception. Long before he became known as the enforcer for the PNG Hunters, he was honing his craft in the domestic competitions that serve as the breeding ground for PNG's future stars. Playing for the Central Dabaras, Bandi quickly established himself as a force to be reckoned with, using his powerful frame and natural aggression to dominate opposing forward packs and catch the attention of talent scouts looking for the next generation of PNG Rugby League warriors. What sets Koso Bandi apart from other players isn't just his physical presence, though that 105-kilogram frame certainly commands respect. It's his understanding of what it means to be a front rower in the modern game, the anchor of the forward pack, the player who sets the tone for his team's aggressive intent, and the enforcer who ensures that opponents think twice before trying to intimidate his teammates. When Bandi takes the field, he carries with him not just his own ambitions, but the hopes and dreams of an entire nation that sees rugby league as their pathway to international recognition and respect. The moment that defined Koso Bandi's career came in 2024, when he achieved every Papua New Guinean rugby league player's ultimate dream, representing his country at the international level. Making his debut for Papua New Guinea in their stunning 22-10 victory over Fiji Bati in the Pacific Test, Bandi didn't just play, he dominated. The sight of this powerful prop forward bulldozing through Fijian defenders and setting the platform for PNG's historic victory will forever be etched in the memories of rugby league fans across the Pacific. That international debut wasn't just a personal triumph for Bandi, it was validation of everything he had worked for throughout his career. To wear the red, gold, and black of Papua New Guinea is the highest honor any PNG player can achieve, and Bandi's performance in that debut match proved that he belonged among the elite players in Pacific Rugby League. The victory over Fiji wasn't just another win, it was a statement that Papua New Guinea was ready to compete with the best teams in the region, and Koso Bandi was one of the key reasons why. Building on that international success, Bandi continued to represent Papua New Guinea in the Pacific Championship, where he further established his reputation as one of the most feared props in the competition. His performances for the national team caught the attention of rugby league fans across Australia and New Zealand, who began to recognize that this PNG enforcer was something special. Every time he took the field in the national jersey, Bandi carried the weight of his country's rugby league aspirations on his massive shoulders. Back at club level with the PNG Hunters in the Queensland Cup, Bandi's role evolved into something more strategic and impactful. Rather than being a starter who played big minutes, head coach Paul Aiton began using him primarily off the bench, a role that perfectly suited Bandi's explosive style of play. Coming into games as a fresh enforcer when opposing forwards were beginning to tire, Bandi became the secret weapon that could change the momentum of any match with his powerful runs and intimidating defensive presence. The 2025 season promised to be Koso Bandi's breakout year at club level. After years of development and international recognition, he was finally beginning to put together the consistent performances that his talent had always suggested were possible. Head coach Paul Aiton was full of praise for his improved form, noting that the hard-running front rower was starting to find the consistency that separates good players from great ones. Everything seemed to be falling into place for Bandi to have his best professional season yet. But rugby league, like life, has a cruel way of testing even the strongest warriors. During what should have been a celebration, the PNG Hunters' Anzac round victory over the Burleigh Bears, disaster struck. In a moment that would change everything, Koso Bandi suffered a devastating ACL injury that would sideline him for an extended period. For a player who had built his career on power, explosiveness, and physical dominance, an anterior cruciate ligament injury represents the worst possible setback. The timing of the injury made it even more heartbreaking. Just as Bandi was hitting his stride and showing the form that had made him an international player, his season was cut short by the kind of injury that has ended many promising careers. Head coach Paul Aiton's disappointment was evident when he spoke about losing his enforcer just as the player was beginning to reach his full potential. For the PNG Hunters, losing Bandi meant losing one of their key weapons in their forward pack rotation. Yet if there's one thing that Koso Bandi's career has taught us, it's that this warrior doesn't know how to quit. The same determination that carried him from domestic rugby league in Papua New Guinea to international stardom will undoubtedly drive his recovery from this setback. ACL injuries are serious, and the road back to full fitness will be long and challenging, but Bandi has already proven that he has the mental strength to overcome obstacles that would break lesser players. As Koso Bandi begins the long journey back to full fitness, his story serves as an inspiration to every young rugby league player in Papua New Guinea who dreams of wearing their country's jersey. He proves that with enough determination, physical gifts, and the right mindset, it's possible to rise from the domestic competitions of PNG to compete with the best players in the Pacific. When he returns to the field, And make no mistake, he will return. Koso Bandi will once again be the enforcer that opposing teams fear and PNG fans celebrate. His journey is far from over, and the best chapters of his rugby league story may still be waiting to be written.